Hi, I'm Danny Vance, coming at you from the Holler Studio today. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our Build It Forward project here and kind of the progress that we've got on our tiny houses this year. In case you aren't familiar, the Build It Forward project is about building tiny houses. Some people here at KVEC, Desi Bowling and Jeff Hawkins, a few years ago, actually 3 years ago, had an initiative to build these tiny houses, and they issued $15,000 grants to schools. The schools will take that $15,000, design a tiny house, and then actually build that tiny house from the ground up and have it ready to roll out at the end of the school year. Um, Over the past 3 years, we've built 17 tiny houses, and we've actually got 6 being built this year. And I went around last week and took pictures of the tiny houses, talked to the teachers and students, and I'd kind of like to just kind of relay to you the progress on those tiny houses to this point up to the Christmas, the midpoint of the year, and kind of show you the progress that each school is having up to this point. First of all, we've got the Ashland tiny home. Now, Ashland had a teacher that resigned last year. Their actual carpentry teacher resigned last year, and so their progress is a little slower this year. They first weren't even going to do a tiny house this year, and then they decided a couple months ago to go ahead and try it. And as you can see by the pictures there, that they basically have the flooring, the insulation and the flooring in place, and then they've got their design. They're getting ready to start up with the walls shortly, and should progress with that tiny house as time goes. They may not finish that tiny house this year, but would maybe turn into a 2-year project for those people. Okay, then the next one is the Floyd County tiny home. As you can see by the pictures there, they're pretty far along with their tiny house. They've got all the structure up, all the sheeting on the outside. Looks like their design has the one slope roof throughout the tiny house from front to back with no build outs on either end. They've got a little bathroom in one end, having a loft on the other end. One thing that's unique about this tiny home is they're going to inset the door in a little bit, as you can see by one of those pictures there. And then I think they're going to try to do a porch that folds down out of the wall, which is kind of neat. Floyd County's building their tiny home exclusively outside. Everything they do is outside, so they're out in the weather, and that sometimes slows down the progress on one of these tiny houses. But looks like they're making really good progress to this point. They've got a new teacher over there this year, Mr. Woods, and he's coming along really nicely on this tiny house. The next one would be the Breathitt County home. Now, Breathitt County also cannot totally build inside. As you can see, they've got their walls built up about 8 feet high, and it's inside at this point, but in order to do the rest of the build, they have to roll it outside. And you can see by one of the other pictures here where they've actually got the roof part mocked up, and then whenever they roll this thing outside, then they'll set that roof on top of that and connect it, and it'll make the job go a lot quicker outside to actually get this thing under roof, what they call under roof, where they'll get the sheeting and the metal or whatever, shingles or whatever they're going to use on top. They'll have it in the dry. But you can also see by their pictures, they've got a lot of their electrical wiring done, and having it inside and being able to do that inside really helps out with the students being able to be more productive. Looks like their tiny house is a whole lot like last year's design. They are using, looks like a full loft that is tied together through one area through the middle. So they got kind of lofts on both ends that are connected in the middle, which really adds a lot of space to that tiny house. And their design last year was really successful. It was the highest sold tiny house of the 6 that were built last year. So that design worked well for them last year, and it looks like they're having a similar design this year. The next one is the Knott County home, but they're using a single slope roof this year. And you'll see a lot of tiny houses built with that type of roof because it allows really more space inside than any configuration you can have, probably, is a one slope roof. Looks like they're doing a loft in one end of their tiny house and making good progress. They've got the wrapping on the outside. They've got a lot of the wiring done. They've got a lot of the plumbing done in theirs. They've got a build out. You see one picture there. There's a little build out on the front of the tiny house. It's going to be where their bathroom is. And they've actually got the plumbing already in that area installed. So making good progress once again. All these pictures were taken last week. So I kind of wanted to give an update, like I say, as to this point where everybody is with these tiny houses. The next one will be the Phelps home. Phelps over the last couple of years have gone with that one slope roof design throughout the 24 feet. All these trailers are 24 feet long. They're exactly the same trailer for all these tiny houses. And they've got 7,000-pound axles, which makes a really good format, a good foundation for these tiny houses. A 24-footer is about the common size and allows for the build to be be pretty roomy inside. But Phelps looks like they're going with a little different design this year. They've got a V roof with a kick out in the loft area. They're actually doing a downstairs bedroom this year, and which is different than anything they've done before. It looks like they're doing a raised floor under the kitchen and bathroom area, which is a really good idea for their plumbing. They can put their plumbing between those two floors, and it keeps it out away from the weather. And it's a lot easier for the students to put in that space under there rather than try to go through the trailer frame. So it looks like Phelps is trying a little different design this year than in the past, and it's really nice. They're able to do their build totally inside, as is Knott County. Knott County has a shed to build in. Phelps can build theirs totally inside in their shop, which is an added advantage. And then last is the Lee County tiny home. They're doing a totally different design than we've ever had of the 17 in the past. They're doing a barn style roof on theirs this year, and as you can see by the pictures, you can imagine the math that went into figuring those trusses. All those trusses there are hand built by the students, and so they did the math to calculate where those angles would need to be just right to get the height just right. You know, these things have to be under 13.6 tall, so to figure out the height of this thing over the walls, plus make it work out exactly at the width they need. Can't be over 8.5 feet wide after the roofing and everything's on. Little creativity there goes into that roof. So I'm really excited to see that one and see them going a little extra mile with that one, because it's obviously harder to build that than it is a straight roof on one. So I'm anxious to see how that turns out. It looks really well so far. As you can see, they've already got the roofing, the metal on the outside on the roof. They've got the vinyl siding, most of it on the outside. Again, this was taken last week. I imagine most all that siding's on there now. But most every one of these schools, you know, it was last week or earlier the week before when I saw them, and most are expecting to have their tiny homes under roof before the Christmas holidays. So just kind of wanted to fill you in a little bit. We're really excited about this project here at KVEC, and it's been an ongoing thing now. This is our 4th year, and it's really exciting to see what the students do with these projects, how they're creative and the work they do, and then to hear their stories at the end, talk about how they did this and the thoughts that went into the process. And it's just really an exciting project for us here at KVEC, and we're looking forward to seeing those things rolled out completed in April or May this year. So just kind of wanted to fill you in on the progress of the tiny houses this year, and coming at you from the Holler Studio here at KVEC. And I'm Danny Vance, and we will holler at you later.